Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Growth Lab podcast. My name is Glen. I'm your pain-free personal trainer, Newmarket, Ontario. And today we're talking about sleep, how to improve the quality of your sleep, what's going to be the best ROI for things you can do to get better sleep. And there's a whole bunch of different ways I could have done this podcast. And I've decided to do a bit of a different, unique way. I haven't seen anyone talk about sleep like this yet, so I think it's going to be fun. We're going to do this today in a tier list. I'm going to give you my rankings of all the different things that you can do to improve your sleep based on a tier list. If you're unfamiliar with tier lists, this is what they look like. We have A tier, which is the best, then B tier, which is second to that, C tier, D tier. You get the idea. And down here, I've picked out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 things that you can do to improve your sleep. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in different categories, and I'm ranking them based on two main criteria. And if there's other things that come up along the way, I will let you know. But there's two main criteria. One is going to be ranked by return on investment for time and cost, and the other one's going to be ease of applicability. I think there are people like me who might help people like you, where there's something that is an amazing thing if you can apply it, but that applicable thing might be like a 30-minute thing you have to do 5 times a week. And is that really that applicable at that point? That'd be like D tier, right? That would be much closer down here because that's just hard to apply. And so I'm going to be going through some different things here. I'm going to give you a little bit of the science as we go through and a little bit of the ideas as to why I put it in that list. I think this is going to be fun. I think it's going to be enjoyable. And I hope this is helpful for you in order to help you better optimize your sleep. So without further ado, let's get into optimizing sleep. So here's our tier list. You already understand how this works. Let's just jump right into it. First and foremost, we have no strenuous exercise 2 to 3 hours pre-sleep. In terms of return on investment, anytime there is a no kind of thing where it's just like avoid doing this thing, it is fairly easy to apply it, I think, for the most part, but I often find there's less return on investment. So no strenuous exercise 2 to 3 hours before sleep. I'm going to put that in the C list here. We're going to put that in C tier. We'll leave that right there. So the reason I'm putting this in C tier is because A, it's not that hard not to do exercise 2 to 3 hours before sleep. And also B, this is more about like mitigating adrenaline rushes before bed. We want to do things that are non-stimulating before bed, and this will come up in some of the other things that we can do to improve sleep as well. And so you just want to keep the stress down a little bit. And we just want to avoid that stressful exercise 2 to 3 hours before bed. This is also, I think, not applicable to everybody. I think there's some people who it's very easy for them to come down after exercise. But for most people, it's probably not the case. For me in particular, this is a big thing. I used to play a lot of soccer. In adult league soccer, your games often go anywhere from up to 9 p.m. to finishing sometimes at 12 a.m. in the evening. And so I'd finish soccer at 12 a.m., I'd drive home, it's now 12:40, and then I'd be up for another hour and a half just trying to calm down, and then I'd have to get up at 6 or 7 in the morning for work, and that sucked. And so, yeah, avoiding strenuous stuff 2 to 3 hours before sleep is going to be certainly important. I'm going to put that in the C tier. No alcohol before sleep. So let's be honest here. Probably shouldn't be drinking too much during the week, even too much in life in general. I don't judge you for drinking. If that's something you would like to do, that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Alcohol has been shown to have literally net zero benefit in terms of health. I know for a long period of time, people were drinking for the resveratrol, and I'll be honest, I'm not even sure what that does, but the research now is quite clear. Alcohol before bed is no bueno. So no alcohol before sleep, because it's another one of these things where it is it's just a no thing. Like, you ought not be doing it to begin with. And if you're already kind of health conscious, you're probably not drinking too much alcohol before bed anyways. I'm actually going to throw this probably in the D tier. And the reason this is going in D and the no strenuous exercise is going in the C tier is because exercise actually causes different signalers in the brain, different hormonal markers, things like interleukin-6, C-reactive protein, some of the byproducts of strenuous exercise actually causes you to signal to the brain that you need recovery, which actually helps you get to sleep quicker. So I'm putting that in C, but no alcohol before sleep, D tier. Okay, one of my favorites. I used to have a terrible time sleeping, guys. I'm so glad we're talking about this. Blue light reduction filter glasses or red light glasses 2 hours before sleep. So blue light blocking glasses or red glasses 2 hours before sleep. These two things do the same thing. The red glasses inherently block blue light, and you can also get filters that block blue light. For some reason, even though I have glasses that are blue light blocking and they block up to 99%, I find orange or red tinted glasses just give me that feeling, like that trust that it's actually happening. And that might not be a logical thing at all. Both are supposed to work quite well. For this here, blue or red glasses 2 hours before sleep, I'm putting this bad boy in. It's between A and B, to be honest. Like, I wish I could put it right in between the two of them right now, and I reserve the right to change this later. I'm going to put this in B tier. And so why does blue light blocking glasses or red light glasses work? It's because your circadian rhythm system, the system inside your body, which we use to denote the natural rhythms through the day. So your waking time, when you have that natural boost of cortisol and stress in the morning, and then that need to take a little bit of a siesta or that downturn in the afternoon, and then bouncing back from that, and then eventually your natural bedtime. This is all set in rhythms, and these rhythms in your body are set by things like when you exercise, they're set by when you break your fast, and they're also set very highly and very sensitively by light exposure. And so, to just have healthy cells in your body, you should be getting sun in the morning. You should get a little bit of sun in the afternoon, but you should start avoiding light in the evening. And this was actually a huge thing for me when I started wearing red and orange glasses and now my prescription blue light blockers. I found that I was getting to sleep a lot quicker and my sleep was deeper. And so I'm a big fan of these. I think they could be A tier, but the only reason I don't put them in A tier is because for some people, if they have jobs where they're working till like 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock at night, or if they're going out to social events, or they've got a job where it's like a lot of social stuff at nighttime, like maybe they're an after hours music teacher or, a laborer or something like that. If you're wearing these at that hour, people might look at you funny, like it's not really socially acceptable. And so the ease of applicability goes down a little bit. But if you're at home and you got like 2 hours before you go to bed, like I go to bed 9 or 10 o'clock most nights. I'm up at 4 or 5 in the morning, sometimes 6. I have got these on at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and I love it. And as long as you're not doing work that requires like color vision, like you're not doing video editing or you're doing, photoshopping or anything like that, if you're just sitting watching TV or hanging out with your family or playing games, like go for it. So B tier, bordering on A tier. Next up here, we got magnesium before bed, 200 to 400 milligrams. I'm not a nutritionist or dietitian. I am not telling you to take this supplement. I'm merely saying that the research dictates that this is a good idea. 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium biglycinate or threonate, biglycinated threonate, before bed has been shown to decrease time to sleep and increase restfulness of sleep. And this one here, I'm also going to put in the B tier. We're going to go B tier again here. Excuse me. And the reason I'm putting this in B tier is it is huge ease of applicability for sure. There is some ROI in terms of return on investment, in terms of how well you sleep and whatnot. However, there is a monetary cost to this. You've got to spend, $30-40 every month or two in order to have this magnesium available. And I do prefer low cost things or minimal cost things to begin with. A lot of the things on the list, you can buy orange or red glasses one time for $30 or $40 and you're good to go. Exercise is free. No alcohol is free. I mean, it just costs some money But magnesium before bed, 240 milligrams of biglycine or threonate, shown by the research to have a nice positive impact on your sleep. You can also try things like apigenin or L-theanine. They're a little bit more expensive. And the other reason I'm not putting those on there is because some people have super vivid dreams when they're on L-theanine. My wife, she takes L-theanine sometimes to help her with sleep, but sometimes she has like the wildest dreams, and she likes to dream, but sometimes they're not the most fun dreams, like nightmarish. And so you got to be careful with some of that, folks. So magnesium before bed, like glycine at 3 and 8, B tier, like that one. Avoid bright lights between 10 p.m. and 4 p.m. This here, in terms of general health, is A tier. That's an A tier for general health. In terms of sleep, though, to get specific, it's probably going to be more of a B tier. And again, it's just for return on investment. Actually, you know what? No, I'm doing it. Guys, I'm doing it. I'm changing my answer. We're going into A tier. We're going to A tier. So avoiding bright lights between 10 and 4 p.m. We're going to A tier for a couple reasons. One, because the lights you see in the evening do end up keeping you awake. They do affect your sleep, but they also then start resetting and changing your circadian rhythm for the next day. We don't want that. And there's growing bodies of research. I have a friend, very interesting guy. If you met him 10, 12 years ago, he had like barely enough money to get gas. Like it was crazy. And then he did some studying with some like world-renowned surgeons, some guys and gals who are really into health optimization. He's grown this crazy business. He works with millionaires and billionaires now. Great guy, amazing dude. And he talks about very highly about how light and sleep waking cycles ends up affecting your individual cellular health. And if it's something that's affecting your individual cellular health, given that you're made up of trillions of cells in your body, that's a huge deal. And so avoiding bright lights between 10 and 4, certainly great for sleep, but overall health, that's a huge thing. So A tier, avoiding bright lights between 10 and 4 p.m. Maintain consistent sleep schedule. A tier, baby, no doubt in my mind. Listen, everybody, even though variety is the spice of life, routine and consistency is king for progress and success in your life. And so maintaining a consistent sleep schedule signals your body every time you go to bed that this is time for me to go to sleep. It means you get to bed quicker. It means that you wake up and feel more rest in the morning. It means you wake up quicker as well when your body is in this natural rhythm that it has. So 100% for sure going to tell you to maintain a consistent sleep schedule. I'm going to turn my audio down a little bit here because I'm peaking a little bit. I'm just getting really excited talking about this topic with y'all today. Okay, continuing onwards from maintaining consistent sleep schedule. Light fluids and water before bed. Yeah, light fluids and food before bed. We are going to put this son of a gun in C tier. Your C tier. Why in my brain is this C tier? A couple different reasons. One, if you got a family and you got kids, things might be crazy. You might not even have time to get some food in until later at night. And so I've got to consider that for all my busy parent folks. Other people might be shift workers and they got to eat when they can. Laborers. I know I have a lot of respect for my father-in-law because he raised a family of 4 with his wife with very little, but he would work all day, sometimes get home at 10 o'clock at night, and then he just have to slam food in order to get the nutrients in that he needed in order to be fueled for the next day of work and recover. And so it's a little bit more difficult for ease of applicability here. I will say this when it comes to food and nutrients is that if you are having heavy foods before bed or lots of liquids, foods could lead to more indigestion. B, your body has to devote more resources and blood to digesting that food and then exporting those nutrients throughout the body. And it doesn't mean that your brain doesn't get the blood that it needs, because your brain does need a certain amount of blood and nutrients and oxygen to keep you alive. But it does mean that it might not devote as much of that blood flow towards the brain that can help with more deep, restful sleep. And so we do want to, where we can, to avoid lots of heavy foods before bed. Same thing with liquids. Liquids, if you have too many liquids before bed, I mean, you have to pee them out. There's no way around that. I even know for myself, If I eat too late and I have water because maybe my dinner's a little salty, I can be up a couple of times in the middle of the night. And then for me, I can usually get to bed once, maybe twice. But then the issue then becomes, what if I can't get to bed that second time and I'm up at 3 o'clock that day, and then my brain is wired and I go. That's a problem. And so we want to minimize the amount of fluids before bed. Same with food, but there's extenuating circumstances like the job, if you got kids and you're running around, if you just played a sport, like I was telling you about soccer before, and you got to get home and replenish some fluids and eat some food. I mean, these are things you have to consider, right? So light fluids and food before bed, C tier. Okay. Avoiding caffeine 8 to 10 hours before sleep. And we can even put this up there, honestly, with other supplements. I'm going to put this up in A tier here, everybody. A tier, B tier, it's on the cusp again. I'm going to say B tier for now. Yeah, B tier for now. And so I think this one is a little bit more clear cut if this is a little bit more new for you. Avoiding caffeine 8 to 10 hours before sleep. Caffeine, we could also replace that with nicotine. We could replace that with like different medications that are stimulating. Like I have ADHD, and I usually take it first thing in the morning when I wake up, 4, 5, 6, whenever that might be. But I've taken it before where I've had it at 9 o'clock at night, and then I get to 9 p.m. and I'm still awake, or I'm feeling sleepy, but like I know I just can't get to sleep, and like that's not great. And so you want to make sure that we're avoiding stimulants and medications, and things like caffeine 8 to 10 hours before bed to let your body metabolize them. There's something called the half-life of drugs in the body, and the half-life is essentially how long does it take your body to clear out half of that product, half of that metabolite. A metabolite is just the broken down, I shouldn't say the broken down. A metabolite is just like the chemical molecule in your body. And caffeine metabolism is different for everybody. Some people, like my father, and seems like all of my wife's side of the Italian family, they can have coffee like 8 p.m. at night and go to sleep 2 hours later, and that's no big deal for them. They have very fast caffeine metabolism. They can have that late and just they can go to sleep, baby. Like it's crazy. For me, if I don't stop drinking caffeine by 2 p.m. in the afternoon, assuming I've got a 9 or 10 p.m. bedtime, I feel it. I feel it, dude. I feel it. So avoiding these stimulants 8 to 10 hours before bed goes a long way, especially the caffeines. Certainly a B tier. Are there still times where like I have caffeine closer to bed in the evening? Yeah, like if I've had like a really rough night of sleep, or there's something where I just feel super lethargic and I've got some serious work ahead of me and I got to be a little bit more on top of my game, I will have that caffeine at like 3, sometimes 4 o'clock, but I really try to avoid that. Interestingly, just as a quick side tidbit, if you're interested as to why caffeine is in particular has a negative effect, the main energy source of the body is something called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. It gets broken down into like phosphate for energy, and then ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and then eventually adenosine monophosphate, AMP, right? It's like different layers of that, right? You have like one backbone chain with like 3 of these phosphate groups, and then each time you take one off, you get one less. And eventually, when you get down to minimal energy, you have a lot more AMP, adenosine monophosphate, throughout the body versus adenosine triphosphate. Well, your brain has receptors for AMP, this like certain lock and key mechanism where when you've got a certain amount of this AMP floating around your brain says, oh, we've got very little energy. There's a lot of this AMP built up from days of activity. Time for you to fall asleep. The crazy thing is that the molecule of caffeine in the brain has very similar structure to the AMP, and they actually compete, right? It's almost like your brain, let's say, has like a thousand locks with keys. And the same key that can make you feel sleepy can also cause you to stay awake if you put a certain key in there. And so if you have a ton of caffeine before bed and you can't break it down quickly, it's like putting a whole bunch of these keys in there that make you feel more awake and not enough the keys in the locks that make you feel tired. So avoid that caffeine 8 to 10 hours before bed. We need to clear all that stuff out. Moving onwards. 30 minutes of sun exposure in the day. I want to put this in A tier. In fact, I'm going to, and I'm going to tell you why and other things you can do. Okay. So 30 minutes of sunlight exposure a day. Oh, that's 30 minutes of sunlight exposure a day. Oh, that's just generally. Okay, B tier, because there's another one. I got confused. I'm sorry, everybody. So hit the reset button here. 30 minutes of sunlight exposure a day. I'm talking about any point in time going out and getting sunlight, more to the eyes. The more sun you get during the day, the more information your brain gets about what time of day it is and how wakeful you should be. So to give you an example, when you first go outside in the morning and you're just seeing the sunrise and the sun is coming and it hits your eyes, it's very, very strong UV rays. Your brain picks it up. It starts stimulating you to be awake, and it actually sets your circadian rhythm to say, okay, this is the time we're waking up right now. 16 hours from now, it's probably time to start going to sleep and going to bed. So it actually sets like a little timer, right? So you get out, let's say for me, I wake up at 5 a.m. and let's say I get sunlight from 5 to 5:30. At that point in time, it's like my body is winding up a 16-hour timer and it's slowly ticking down. And by the time it hits 0, my body's saying, sleep time, buddy. And so getting that sunlight first thing in the morning is great. However, if you can't get it first thing in the morning, it's still good to get it throughout the day, because your body can still interpret the sun it's getting based on the sun's position and how it's hitting your eyes in terms of what time of day it is. So it's still good to get that sunlight through the day, because it does give your body the data to tell it what time of day it is and to help regulate that timer. So in a similar but different adjunct, sunlight within 30 minutes of waking up. Listen, I know the ease of applicability on this one isn't that high. It might be moderate. That might actually be ease of applicability, might be B or C tier. For some of you crazy busy people, D tier. However, in terms of ROI, A tier. Having a strong circadian rhythm and strong sleep-wake cycles and being consistent with your sleep schedule, getting that sunlight in the morning to help set that, absolute huge return on investment. Based on the research, it's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. It's sensational. If you cannot get 30 minutes of sunlight first thing in the morning, get one of these. I'm going to change my screen real quick. Hopefully this doesn't go off. This is a seasonal affective disorder lamp, maybe, or it's like a UV lamp. I think it's like a 50K, maybe I'm talking to him, maybe 10,000K. I'm not 100% sure, but this is one of those artificial lights that people use when they have seasonal affective disorder. I have it on my desk, actually, and I'm actually using it right now, believe it or not, as a light for the podcast to help me create better lighting. If I turn it off, you can see, changes things a little bit dark over here. So I keep it on when I do the podcast on a minimal setting, but first thing in the morning, I get up, I come down to my office here, and I put this on for 5 minutes on the highest setting, and I have my coffee. And this is during the winter in Canada, where it's been literally cloudy for the past 10 to 12 days and -9 this morning. I didn't feel like going outside and being out there. And plus, I can't see the sun because it doesn't come out until 7:15 at the time of this recording starts to rise. And so I use this seasonal affective disorder lamp to get the necessary light that I need first thing in the morning for at least 5 minutes to help me set my rhythm. And it's been really helpful. And so it's a very easy way for like 40 or 50 bucks online to go and circumvent not being able to see the sun. So sunlight within 3 minutes of waking up, A tier for all the health benefits. Okay. 10-minute hot bath before bed, A tier, baby. So why would a hot bath before bed help? Well, here's what has to happen for you to get a good night's sleep. Quick coffee break. If you want to get a really good night's sleep, one of the things that has to happen for you to get into that deep, restful sleep and even help you get to sleep is your core body temperature has to drop down. Your core body temperature has to drop down. That helps to keep you, helps you to get to sleep quicker. And one of the best ways to do that is by taking a hot bath. Because if you take a hot bath, shower's okay, not great. Hot bath, because you have total heat immersion and you get hot, maybe even a little bit sweaty. When you get out of the bath, your core temperature has to drop right down because you've been heating up yourself externally through the skin, so to speak. And so that core body temperature drops right down. You go to bed in your nice cool room. The room is cool. Your body temperature is dropping. And as a result of that, you fall asleep and you have more restful sleep. I forget the actual data is on it, but I think a 10-minute hot bath has been shown to increase like deep REM sleep by 10 to 15% just by doing that. So it costs you a little money on your water bill, sure. But if you're having a hard time getting to sleep or have a deep sleep and you could be 10 to 15% more rested, hot bath, absolutely fantastic. Please try and go for it. Moving on to the next thing, almost right away here. Cool, dark room. I was going to put that in A tier, everybody. Sorry, everybody, for that momentary lapse there. I had just realized that the 10-minute hot bath, I did not change the camera on. So my apologies for that. Getting right back into it, though. Coming off the 10-minute hot bath before bed. Cool, dark room, 20 degrees Celsius or 68 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe even a little cooler if you can tolerate it. I put this son of a gun in the B tier. And the only reason it's not an A tier is because some of y'all got spouses or people you sleep with, or you've got other people who you live with, and you can't justify having the temperature that low. You might have babies or kids that need to be warmer, or maybe your significant other needs a little bit warmer. I'm sorry, I cannot help you with that. But a cool, dark room, 20 degrees Celsius, 68 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe even a little cooler, if I'm being honest, has been shown to help you have a nice, deep sleep. This is what we evolved to sleeping with, is more or less cool areas. That coolness that we feel in the room causes us to sleep better and have a deeper, more restful sleep. I don't know if you've ever tried to sleep really well in a hot room very hard, but it seems like even if it's really cold, if we can get enough blankets, we're okay. When it comes to sleeping in a cool, dark room, it definitely helps to have layering blankets. I have a very elaborate setup because my sleep is very important to me. So I have 2 blankets. I have like a medium to heavier duvet, and then I have a very light blanket over top of that. And sometimes even wear a sweatshirt to bed if the room is really, really cold. And then I find by the end of the day, by the end of the evening, I just have my regular duvet. Sometimes my sweatshirt makes it off. Sometimes it stays on. It's funny. I don't even remember it coming off sometimes. And I always find the light blanket comes off. And as a bonus here, I will say this. I invested in something called a Chili Sleep Pad. I know 8 Sleep is gaining more popularity if you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast or the Huberman Lab, but it is essentially like a cooling system where it can pump in like hot or cold water into your bed. And so before I go to bed, it actually pumps in hot water. And then I've got it set to at a certain time to start pumping cooler water in. So instead of having a very cold room, because I sleep with my wife, I actually have this cool mattress that actually cools my body down as I sleep and helps me not sweat, and essentially keeps me in a nice, deep, restful state overnight. If you're anything like me, if your room is too hot, you end up sweating a lot and it's just uncomfortable. And I used to go through layers and layers of clothing. I don't make any money off of this, by the way, by sharing this. This got no affiliation with them. Maybe I should have. But sleep in a cool, dark room and layer with blankets if you can. And in addition to that, if you have the money to spend on a $1,500 to $3,000 sleep unit, you can go ahead and do that too. I find it tremendously beneficial. So last 2 things on the tier list here might actually be last thing because I think we already did this one. No electronics in the room. I'm going to put this here in the C tier because I think this is really, really hard. I think this one's really, really hard in terms of ease of applicability. Most people, we use our phones for alarm clocks. A lot of people track their sleep or other metrics with a wrist device. Some people need fans in the room, like me. Some people have these cooling systems, like me. My wife has a night light. We have an air purifier because air quality is really important to us. So, I mean, it's really hard not to have any electronics in the room. And I've heard, I don't know a ton about this, but I've heard some people say electrical signals play interference on different cellular levels of electricity in your body. Perhaps it's the distraction of like the phone screens and the brightness at nighttime that could play an effect here. Maybe there's other things as well. I mean, this is just one of those things where I think it's just really hard not to have electronics in the room, even though there might be some ROI there, just very low ease of applicability. What if you got kids and need to have the baby monitor? All these things add up. And so no electronics in the room, you're in C tier. And we talked about no strength exercise 2 or 3 hours before sleep. But one thing we should put on here that is A tier that I'm going to change here is daily exercise! Exclamation mark. A tier for sure. We're going to even make this bigger. Why is this son of a gun A tier? So many reasons. Exercise has been shown over and over again to increase your immunity, to increase the quality of your sleep, to increase time to sleep, to increase restfulness of sleep, to help set your circadian rhythm, which also helps you sleep. It's great for your cell health. I mean, exercise has been shown to be the number one thing to help with aging, increasing bone density, cardiovascular health, the chemical mediators and signalers that come from exercise that's been a little bit stressful. Tell your body you need some sleep and rest, so help you get to sleep quicker and deeper. There's so many amazing things that exercise does. It is A tier for sure, 100%. So if we go through the list here, A tier things that have a high return on investment and ease of applicability, avoid bright lights between 10 and 4 p.m., maintain a consistent sleep schedule, get sunlight or that artificial SAD light from that electronic device within 30 minutes of waking, a 10-minute hot bath before bed, daily exercise. B tier. Red glasses or blue light blocking glasses 2 hours pre-sleep, or otherwise said, just avoid bright lights before bed as well. Magnesium, 200-400 milligrams before bed of biglycinate or threonate. Avoid caffeine and stimulates 8 to 10 hours before sleep. 30 minutes of sunlight exposure when you can get it through the day, and a cool, dark room, 20 degrees Celsius or 68 Fahrenheit, all B tier items. C tier, no stress exercise 2 to 3 hours pre-sleep, light fluids and food before bed, no electronics in the room. And D tier, probably shouldn't be drinking this anyways if you're just trying to be healthy. It's no alcohol before sleep, but you enjoy it. You got other social events. I'm not here to judge. Do what you will with that. Everybody, another awesome, at least I think it's awesome, episode of the Growth Lab podcast. I really hope this tier list is helpful to help you think about what things you should be doing to improve your sleep in terms of ease of applicability, return on investment based on the research, and a little bit through my own experience as well. I'm a big sleep advocate. I still have trouble sleeping sometimes, but I sleep pretty well most nights of the week. I would say 8 or 9 out of 10 times, and it's changed my life. A lot of these things have changed my life, so highly encourage you to try all these different things, see what works well for you, and let me know how they all worked. Okay, subscribe to the podcast, share this with someone who has a hard time sleeping, change their life. Okay, take care everyone. I'll see you on the next one.